A while back, I analyzed a viral video of an unknown creature caught on camera in China. People were saying it was a sickly bear, but villagers insisted it was a mythological spirit known as a water ghost. That one was in captivity, but since then another one's been found running loose in the wild, this time in Malaysia. The way it crawls is not like a bear, but maybe it is sick with mange like they say. Of particular interest is where the supposed bear chooses to go. Remember, villagers in China say this is a water ghost, and then it slips into the water. Don't get me wrong, I definitely think this is just a bear with mange trying to swim away from the camera, but I'm no expert and the villagers are the ones who live there and saw it with their own eyes. The point is no one knows for certain, so I'm not going to act like I do. What do you think this is? This footage was taken when a team of curious German explorers traveled deep into Africa to talk with a powerful shaman who claimed to have many spiritual gifts. When they asked him to demonstrate what he was capable of to their cameras and to the world at large, the shaman, whose name was Ovaku, decided to dazzle them with this maneuver. The tribe chants a mysterious song of celebration and encouragement as Ovaku hangs suspended in mid-air. This incredible act looks like it's taking a lot of physical strength as well as mental concentration to perform. The shaman is gasping for breath and appears to be struggling hard to stay afloat. When he drops to the ground, he is exhausted and looks like he is about to pass out on the spot. Determining whether this footage is real or not depends on how much you are willing to trust the German explorers. They insist that no lifts or pulleys were used, and they do seem genuinely amazed while filming, but who knows what they were really thinking for sure. I will admit that there doesn't seem to be any strings attached to him during the close-up shots, so maybe the shaman can really levitate after all. There has been and always will be the strange kid in class, the type that stands out from the pack, but sadly not in a good way. Redditor Lola Lodge shared a tale about her class oddball from high school. Lola mentions that this boy wasn't a cruel person, and really she felt for him. He just had some issues. Well, don't we all? Lola shared some classes with him, and she wrote that his antics sent him home on occasion. One of these antics was quite painful, literally. In Lola's own words, once he came to class and he had carved the letter I into his cheek with a razor. He said the I stood for individual, and this fellow was certainly an individual. Lola also tells when the class did Secret Santa, instead of offering some chocolates or socks or some more thoughtful gift, like any regular Santa would do, he gave his recipient some odd fingernail and toenail clippings. Why? Because he wanted to give a part of himself. Cue the collective shuddering. Redditor Sarah the Lizard jacks up that shuddering in the comments to 20 decibels, writing, "He should have given him a human foot. It's the ultimate stocking stuffer. Talk about a nightmare before Christmas." Is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind the scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the Redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area, and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
It stopped. Do you not hear it? Stop.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery. But the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. An abundance of paranormal activity means Stephanie Elmager is never truly home alone.
I'm gonna walk around my house. The reason I'm filming this right now is I'm trying to catch some paranormal activity on my recorder. As you can see, there is nobody in my house. Do you hear that? My TV just came on.
A kids program politely tells her to get out of the house, and then the lights turn on by themselves.
Oh, and the alarm just went off. Do you see this? There is nobody in this house. The TV just came on. Holy. If that was a ghost, give me another sign. Anything. Anything. You gotta be kidding me. Does everybody see that?
She crosses the kitchen to show us where the light switches are, and
there is nobody in this house. Look, the lights are right there. If anybody at all, I'm gonna turn it off. It was even up. Look, if anybody, holy, what the?
A bedroom is haunted by a pale figure with a long crooked neck who is either standing behind or on top of her bed. When she does a double take, she finds it much closer now, peering at her from around the door.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't get scared very often. Oh, that just freaked me out. Okay, let's walk back in there.
I agree with her completely. I saw it too, so either this is a real ghost sighting, which I'm almost sure it is, or we are both losing our minds.
I am not losing my mind. There is nobody in here. Look, there is nobody anywhere.
Images sometimes crop up on Google Maps Street View that are incredibly suspect. This Google capture is a bit more supernatural. Published to YouTube by The Hidden Underbelly 2.0 in August of 2018. This image was captured at Martha Chapel Cemetery in Huntsville, Texas. As one of the country's oldest cemeteries, Martha Chapel was built in the early 19th century. According to travel guide expert Dana Goolsby, the road leading to the cemetery is nicknamed Demon's Road. It earned this nickname from alleged encounters with the spirits that haunt the area. According to Goolsby, visitors to the cemetery sometimes find large handprints on their vehicles. Is something supernatural making its mark? According to the Houston Chronicle, the Google Maps Street View image was uploaded to YouTube in August of 2018, where it started trending. The image shows headstones near a fence line, surrounded by trees. Behind one of these trees hides a ghostly little girl. The grayish tint of her skin gives her a phantom glow as she peers around the corner of the tree. But wait, that's not the only haunting figure in view. Behind the fence line, walking amongst tall tombstones, is a dark cloaked figure. The phantom being definitely looks out of place. Maybe the cloaked figure is seeking this girl. We hope it doesn't find her. This alleged ghost video was taken on the second floor of a college, but I think it might simply be a chair getting pulled by string. Still, do you see anything here when zoomed in? I can't say I do.
शुरू से लेकर एंड तक देखे, शुक्रिया। ये आप देख सकते हैं धमकियों में और अजीब अजीब सी हरकतें करती रहती है, ये आप देख सकते हैं।
Ahmed knows of someone in need of his help. She's apparently been taken over by something paranormal, and he hopes to break it by reciting the right words over her bedridden figure. The orb activity picks up whenever he speaks.
ये लगता है हम इसकी वही कहते हैं, ये बच्ची जो मेंटल है और वही जो कहते हैं कि इसके अंदर हवाई चीज़ें और जिन्नात है।
Her gray hands have marks and worn knuckles. Her fingers are constantly flexing.
हमें महसूस हो रही एक्टिविटी है।
When she reaches for Ahmed at 3 minutes and 54 seconds, her arms are likewise discolored and marred. Something has been hard at work destroying her from the inside out. We don't get to see much of her face, but when we do get a glimpse, it looks scary and possessed. A twisted sneer across cracked gray skin at 9 minutes and 4 seconds. By the end of the session, she says something that makes him stop recording with a small sigh. Tell me what she says here to seemingly break his spirit. The possibility of this being real depends on if you believe in spirits taking someone over. Caught on tape is a scary woman, no doubt about that, but she could also be suffering from some kind of illness that causes delusions and skin conditions. This could also be makeup and some very good acting. The orbs could be from a dusty room, but the way they move over her makes me wonder if this is a real paranormal video caught on tape. K Sosa 37 posted this spooky video of her dog in 2017. In the description of the video, she wrote, "They always say animals can see spirits. My dog was barking at nothing in the room. She wasn't looking at the TV screen. And you can see her move her head suddenly at the 9-second mark. At first, it appears as though the dog is perhaps barking at her own reflection in the television in front of her, but it becomes clear that the dog is looking at something to the right of the TV. And then, as the YouTuber noted, the dog jerks its head suddenly and jumps up, looking above the television. She starts growling and barking more as she gazes upwards. The camera scans where she is looking off to the side of the room, and there's absolutely nothing there. The dog then gets up from its seated position, continuing to growl and bark, and looking still at a spot to the right of the TV. The dog is acting aggressively and defensively, and although her owner remains calm and asks the dog what's wrong, only she seems to know that something is very wrong. What is she seeing in the void? Vincenzo Man Pro has a problem in his backyard that won't go away. A creepy tree creature that he has been unable to identify before or since. It faces away at first, its broad back turned to him. At the 1 minute mark, it stretches its arms and legs and looks vaguely humanoid. Watch for yourself.
Oye, ma si sta muovendo. Oh!
As time passes by, it seems to crouch into a hostile stance. Here it kind of looks like it's on all fours with its head held very low, quite similar to videos I've seen about the rake creature. I think that it could be a monkey if he lives anywhere near the equator. Its fur color is pretty strange for one though. The sun is setting, but the camera has no problem picking up its bluish-white hue in the low light. Then it fades away from sight, possibly hiding out of fear, but also possibly following this man. It remains silent the whole time, and the way it slinks away makes him wary enough to retreat inside.
Chiudiamo. No. Ma che cazzo è?
I don't know how much danger he was in just now, but I respect his decision not to stick around and find out. YouTuber Lance Stewart has always had his critics when it comes to his paranormal videos, but in this video, Lance doesn't claim he got possessed, but rather someone else who is just participating. They are doing a Ouija board challenge and actually managed to capture some interesting paranormal moments, most notably at the 8-minute and 42-second mark when the camera picks up an unknown voice saying, "Turn it off."
Is it I love you? Yes!
Is the ghost implying that it does not want to be filmed? Maybe this is a warning they should have heeded, because later in the day, well after they are done with the Ouija board, Lance finds his ex-girlfriend Lizzie acting very strangely. She's lying on the bed with her eyes rolled back, not saying a word. Lance sounds extremely concerned when she says it's just a prank. Do you think she was telling the truth, or did whatever possessed her just want to give Lance a false sense of security? Either way, this video should serve as an example of how you need to exercise massive caution when using a Ouija board. A YouTuber named Suspect Sky and his wife are convinced that something is waiting for them. Inside of their small closet, Suspect Sky slowly walks up to the closet and flings the door open, prepared for conflict, only to find nothing inside. They are relieved for just a moment, and then decide to get out of the house anyway. Something is still in there waiting for them. They think they can feel its presence, and just want to leave as fast as they can. And when they looked at the video again later, they found out they were absolutely correct. Mustafa Sven is one of the very few brave paranormal exploration channels from Iraq, and he is definitely one of the best. Let's check out a 24-hour challenge he took at a scary haunted abandoned house that he's always been afraid to go exploring. It isn't long until paranormal entities come wailing for him, and all of the creepiness is caught on video with 2 different cameras. It starts with little things that are quite weird, like a shadow moving strangely in the hall behind him. I mean, yeah, I guess it could just be his hand, but the shadow doesn't exactly follow his movements, and I don't know, the angles just don't match up. Then, shortly after the spooky shadow passes by, more weird things are caught on camera. The backpack is actually very well balanced and should not tip over, and it bothers him that it does. He tries to recreate the situation and cannot. Scary noises aside, the backpack is far from the only object caught on camera moving by itself on this haunted night. A stone silently dislodges from the mantelpiece and crashes to the ground, followed by another one. The poltergeist is pulling this house apart brick by brick, willing to do whatever it takes to scare this ghost hunter away. A padlock bounces on its own like a ghost is trying to open the door. Watch closely and tell me if you think this is a poltergeist or someone on the other end of the door poking through the crack with a stick. But just when I was beginning to think this video might not be paranormal, it becomes one of the creepiest videos I've seen in a long time. A rising wave of spirits closing in makes him realize this 24-hour challenge needs to be cut about 20 hours short, and so he finally leaves. It's said that on this battlefield, the ghosts of soldiers still roam. Published by Dark 3 in July of 2019, a man is exploring a region where hostilities took many lives. The tree-heavy area features a couple of towers and a brick wall dividing them. Despite the rather average-looking landscape, the cameraman says strange things are often observed here. After zooming in on the tower, the camera scans the tower from the top to the ground, which is covered by brush and trees. It is behind one of these trees that he captures a glimpse of a strange creature. It's hard to tell what this is. It looks hauntingly like an unearthly figure crouched down, almost out of view. Its coloring does not blend with its surroundings, making me think there's a good chance this could be CGI, and that appears this is the case. So I guess that explains what this thing is doing here, because it certainly doesn't look of this world. We may have just discovered the soundtrack to your nightmares. Published to YouTube by Column A in June of 2019. This clip shows a young man in a prison cell, no context given. He speaks to the camera and, in the midst of his monologue, he gives a strange, otherworldly shriek like a velociraptor. Why? Well, YouTubers have a wealth of hypotheses. For example, Lord Woody thinks that the man is sucking the soul out of the cameraman. I just know if I were in this situation, I'd be getting the heck out of there. A TikToker named Erica R 1971 captures this full moon footage of a potential ghost sighting shortly after her father passes away. Knowing if this was a motion activated camera or not would have been a big help determining if this was a real sighting or just a glitch. If the camera really does turn on by itself like I think it does, coupled with the recent passing of her father, then I'd say this is almost definitely real. A YouTuber named Herb Doggy is diving underwater when he sees a small cave that looks interesting. In less than a minute, he is being chased out by something that's not even human. A giant moray eel slithers out of its hiding hole and appears to chase Herb Doggy away, though I'm not entirely sure. I would like to know how territorial these creatures are, and if they really would chase someone away. I'd also really like to know if this was an electric eel or not, in which case I totally understand why Herb Doggy was in so much of a hurry to get out of there. When you enter a graveyard, you may not leave alone. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Scream Gaming writes, "This was caught in a cemetery when we were leaving. All four of us got chills at the time, and it felt like something left with us. In the short clip, the group is heading out of the driveway of the cemetery when you see a figure on the side of the road. According to the Redditor, they caught this creepy thing on video where in reality there was nothing, just grass and a telephone pole. Do you see it?" Redditor Treadway0311 does, writing, "There definitely was something there and then gone, but what was it and where did it go?" Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hunting the Haunted, this ghost hunter captured something startling after sitting in the Devil's Chair, which is an urban legend that is likely dated back to ancient folklore. It's a statue of a chair or bench found in graveyards. Let's watch his submission.
Wasn't even planning on stopping by until I seen that it was really close to us. So I figured I'd stop and check it out. Yeah, they said that, he sat in this chair.
I can clearly hear a sad moan. Is something in this graveyard upset with his choice to sit in the Devil's Chair? I think he should leave before things escalate. A YouTuber named Brady Galloway is exploring an abandoned school all alone when he hears some kind of high-pitched yelp emerge from the other side of a heavy wooden door. It almost sounds like a small dog, even though there is no way that one would be all the way back here. He opens the door, presumably to see if the animal needs help, and waiting on the other side is a creature that was once human. In this frame, one eye is large and yellow, while the other is small and red. His neck looks turned at an impossible angle and almost broken. Even when he gets closer, the two eyes remain different colors, and neither of them are natural in any way, as he descends upon Andy with a final blow. Here's a video that shows how Randonautica can be scary without even trying. A YouTuber named Nolan goes randonauting with his friends in search of the color orange. The app takes them to 2 orange cones, no problem.
You see that?
Cones. Orange cones. No way.
They are weirded out but not entirely convinced, so they decide to go randonauting for something more obscure that would be creepier to find, like the number 4.
So we're doing a number?
Yeah, okay. So
4.
Not only do they find the number 4 prominently etched into a concrete handrail, but get this, the location that's given to them to find the number 4
It's 4 minutes away.
is exactly 4 minutes away. Now they are getting creeped out and concentrate on a color that's hard to find in the countryside at night. The color blue. Not only does Randonautica take them to a pack of blue gum, when they go back to their car, they find out they were parked by an empty energy drink with blue lettering this whole time. None other than Napoleon Bonaparte once lived in this mysterious abandoned mansion. Let's take a look at what he left behind. YouTuber Exploring with Josh leads the way through this dilapidated chateau.
You know, normally maybe because I'm in France, I wouldn't want to come to this place because it's decayed. It might not be that good compared to everything else that's here. But man, Napoleon stayed here. That's all that matters. That's why. I mean, this is...
I wonder if the little corporal slept in that bed. Josh also comes across this mysterious photograph.
Look at this kid right here. Knickknacks. I think there was, maybe at one point, could have been a flower right there, but don't know.
The history of this place is multi-layered.
I mean, this place has been inherited like multiple times through different owners and generations that who knows who was the last owner to actually stay here. But assuming by looking at the beds, they had children. Multiple.
In this room, the ceiling collapsed, making things a whole lot messier.
Jeez. I have pictures of what this was without this collapse, and we're gonna slip them in here throughout this video so I can show you what it was even 4 years ago from now.
As one of Josh's friends tries to get some deeper footage, an unwelcome creature makes an appearance.
You're like Pooh Bear who's stuck in the tree for honey. Oh, there was a bat that just touched your butt, bro.
They then manage to open the door to the safe.
What is that? Did they open up the door? Yo! Yo! Dude, yes!
Okay, we're not stuck in the safe.
Guys, we did not destruct any property in the making.
Although they didn't find anything valuable inside, I think that perhaps there were valuables in here at one point, but they were taken.
I bet you they did that to see if there's like hidden treasure that was behind it. So they did that just in case. Most likely that's what it was.
Well, there's old paintings there, so these probably were
Oh,
really rare.
could have been Da Vinci's paintings, dude, for all you know. Seriously.
Are you getting Napoleon vibes from this place? I sure am, and his energy doesn't seem so small. This one will make you scream and give you nightmares. Posted by Sermi127 in September of 2007. This YouTube video went so viral that it prompted this YouTuber to create a pantry ghost documentary. Sermi writes, "It has been 5 months since the last sighting of the ghost in my pantry. I filmed the door myself at 12:34 every night for 4 months, waiting for some paranormal activity. On September 19th, I capture what may be the first real ghost video proof. So let's take a look at this proof. The beginning of the video shows the pantry door opening of its own accord in the darkness. The man filming walks towards the door and shuts it, and as he backs away, a freaky figure presses its face and hands against the glass of the door. As he backs up, the horrifying thing disappears for some reason. He then approaches the door again, jerking it open, but there's nothing there. The contents within the pantry appear untouched. Did your hair stand on end? Did you scream? Some in the comments of this video did. This video had me afraid of what might be lurking behind the closed doors in my plate. Here's a question for this video. Human or mutant? Published by Mr. Illusion. I truly hope that this is an illusion. This scary video shows a creature with a very human-like face curled up on the floor. Its body, however, is not human. It's small and extremely hairy with hooved limbs and sharp talons. I wouldn't want to run into this horror in the wild, and I'm pretty sure 83% of people wouldn't either. Only 17% can handle it. Dennis and Tim of Nerve Paranormal return to the Atkinson Manor to see if there's anything they've missed their first time around. There certainly is something they've missed before, and it definitely does not miss them. They are first greeted by a stuffed animal that I don't think was there before. It looks much less dusty than the steps around it, and therefore was probably put there recently. Nerve Paranormal could have put that there themselves though, so even though it's creepy, it's also easily disproven. Less easy to disprove, however, is when they hear this commotion while holding a spirit box session. It sounds like something runs up the steps moments before the door opens, yet no one is there. When they return downstairs, they find this blue kid's chair, shown briefly at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, is now part of a neatly arranged circle at 17 minutes and 30 seconds. Just as they are wondering how the chairs got this way, they get their answer. This still frame, taken in a flash of his camera at 17 minutes and 44 seconds, shows the chairs 1 second before they pull away. You can see no strings running on the floor whatsoever. I don't see how this is possible unless they put magnets on the bottom of these chairs and slid them across the ground from one floor below, which requires 4 different people and a lot of effort. Instead of running away to somewhere safe, they stand their ground, which seems to make the ghost of the manor grow even more displeased. Then again, this object just so happens to be within kicking distance of the cameraman, so maybe he did it himself and then acted surprised. When Tim and Dennis decide to leave a minute later, they hear 4 footsteps and the doors open. This could be a spirit or it could be their friends. I think it could be real considering they eventually chose to escape off the roof and risk falling to get out of there. Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? Posted in April of 2020, this footage shows you can run but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time.
استحلفتكم بالله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة.
After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. The Redditor who posted this video to the Chills Narrator subreddit wonders what this mysterious creature might be. Originally posted by John O'Donnell _22 on TikTok, the creature in question races upright on two spindly legs, being chased by what looks to be a coyote. The creature has a long snout and appears to be shaven. As it runs down a residential street, it makes a high-pitched noise to avoid the predator on his tail. The creature jumps in or onto a nearby garbage can, and after the oblivious coyote continues on, the creature flips in a somersault off of the garbage, making yet another strange noise as it does. What is this thing? Let's see what Reddit has to say about it. Some suggest it's a golem, others a cat, and at least one a sphinx cat. Redditor all caps all dust says, it's called the Gully Beast. It takes from those who are believed to be inept at distinguishing what's real and what's not. If that's correct, talk about mind blown. When all is said and done, it's either a real mystery creature or just plain CGI, but whatever it is, you have to admit, it's freaky. This woman looks like she's stretching at first, but soon you realize that something's off. Posted to TikTok by Delsry Octave, the woman is bracing herself against a door frame. It seems like she's stretching her legs. Then while chanting, she tries to enter the room. One leg drags uselessly behind her. As she moves forward, she retrieves a few items before the outstretched leg is dragged from beneath her. She is dragged down completely from the room. What's happening here? Is she possessed? Most in the comments think so. What do you think is going on here? Did this YouTuber capture skinwalkers in a screaming match? While wandering through Gila National Forest, mysterious wailing echoed all around him. As the cameraman stood waiting, he heard the screams again. They were so terrifying, they spun him around. And again. But where is it coming from? And to whom does this wailing belong? Skinwalkers? Or something else entirely? I think I'm going to stay far away from that forest. Some videos on the internet can haunt you. February 20th, 2003, Station Nightclub, a Great White concert. The headliner takes the stage seconds after they open with their Billboard hit Desert Moon. Pyrotechnics are launched by the tour manager as part of the spectacle. Little does he know that the acoustic foam located in the ceilings and walls around the stage will soon go ablaze. Most initially believed it was part of the show, but soon the crowd began to understand that this was not a controlled incident. The band's lead vocalist, Jack Russell, said into the microphone, "Wow, that's not good." Before some of the band and their entourage fled the stage via the west exit, a stampede towards the main exit resulted in a bottleneck and trampling. Cameraman Brian Butler for WPRI-TV of Providence was there that night filming for a piece on nightclub safety. Some of his footage was released to national news stations. If you're wondering if you can stomach the footage, take notes from Redditor Buffalady87, who writes, "The worst part is in the beginning there's so much screaming, then as people are running outside you realize it's actually pretty quiet, not because people calm down, but because you are actually listening to the people still inside." When you hear some unusual noise in your everyday life, do you ever stop to think, what in the world was that? Redditor Shadow Husky 1 did when he heard this strange sound coming from his parents' closet. Husky writes, "Just moved in. House built in the late 50s. When the boy walks into his parents' bedroom, you can see his reflection in the floor-length mirror. Somebody's here," he says. As some note in the comments, at the 90-second mark, a strange shadow crosses the camera. Actually, it looks more like a blur or a smudge than a shadow. He asks the thing to please make a noise, and unfortunately it responds,
Please make a noise.
As the boy is backing away from the door, you can hear what sounds like clothes hangers clang together. He then enters an adjacent bathroom connected to the closet. As he tries to flick the light a dozen times, a woman's voice can be heard for a moment. Who is it? What do they want? Is there a spirit haunting this closet? If so, what happened here? Shadow Husky doesn't stay long enough to find out. Can't blame him. If you're going to rent a historic home, don't expect to get any sleep. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Securius Cymbalum was staying at a 500-year-old cottage when something odd happened. The light shade moved outward on its own. This prompted the Redditor's dog to freak out. He's seen in the video staring at something and whining for several minutes. What is this dog seeing that's invisible to the human eye? Many in the comments describe similar experiences with their dogs. Some look in a certain corner of the room, others in the hallway, and they don't budge. Others say many of their ghost encounters were with their dog. So what is it about the spirit world and animal senses? What are they seeing that we don't? I think it may forever remain a mystery. A kid is reading something off a website when his friend says something that makes him pause. Tell me what is being said here if you can.
Una bomba que puede explotar en cualquier momento.
A wild face at the window sends him sprawling backwards in his chair with fright. There's no playing that scream off. He was seriously afraid for his life. He must not have seen the camera hidden in his friend's lap, and he never expected one of his other friends to jump at him from the window with a crazy look in his eye. But at least he saves a little bit of face by regaining his composure quickly and laughing along with them. Still, nevertheless, having someone peeking through your bedroom window is certainly a nightmare. A YouTuber named Chloe Constance travels to the haunted Morton Corbett Castle in England to put her ghost summoning skills to the test. First, they ask any spirits to make the candle flicker if they are nearby. The candle does indeed flicker, but it looks like it might have been edited, so I'm not sure how much time passes between her request and the flame's movement.
I want you to flicker if somebody's there.
But when Chloe tells the spirit to make a sound, this object flies by the camera. The pink object looks like a hand, but the question is, was it one of theirs? Only the person holding the camera is close enough to move her hand, so I guess it could have been hers, but I'm not sure. Still, if you slow down the video and look to the left, you'll see a bright white light appear as soon as Chloe says to make a noise. Look at her sister's pink sleeve to see it. Either way, they seem stressed out and call the video off. This YouTube channel is just a random string of letters and numbers that may or may not spell out some sort of hidden message. There's one video that's especially strange. Someone is furiously pedaling around a neighbor while panting. Apparently lost and possibly being pursued. The next video is of someone watching two other people from afar and from behind some shrubbery. I'm not sure if this video is real or not, because they would obviously be able to see this person from this angle in my opinion, but maybe they were just ignoring him or truly didn't notice. If the person filming here is the same person that was on the bike, then I think they may have serious problems. After not posting for over 7 years, the channel started uploading content again a month ago. Maybe now there will be more clues revealing the mystery behind these videos. A YouTuber named Justin Brown has been seeing odd-looking people living in tents near his hometown. In Lone Pope, California. He is too nervous to investigate the situation in person, so he sends his drone over for a closer look. Imagine Justin's surprise when he discovers an entire colony of strangers living on a riverbed less than a mile from his home. He has no idea who they are, what they want, or why they are so close to a suburban neighborhood, which doesn't seem particularly special in any way. Also, no one can seem to figure out what this mysterious blinking blue light is. Take a look at the way it keeps flashing persistently, and tell me what kind of technology you think it could be. Maybe together we can figure out who lives here and their purpose. After Snapchatting, a kid knocked down some stuff with a soccer ball. The boy's father confronts this teen over it. He deletes the Snapchat, but the father wants the police called. He tries to run, but the father grabs his waist and tells him he's not going anywhere.
I'm not filming your kid. You're not leaving anywhere. He's holding me up against the bikes. Hey, yes, sir in the red hat. Yes, sir. Hey, can you come back, please? Yes, sir. Call him. Call him. Call him. Nobody's touching you. You hold me up against the bikes. You're trying to walk off. You're going to cuss me out and film my...
The guy recording is obviously frightened at this point and tries to leave multiple times, but is always grabbed and stopped by the father. An officer eventually arrives, and after hearing what happened, he says what the teen did isn't against the law and tells him to take off.
So I am going to ask you to leave, and if something's on there, I ask you. I'm not telling you, please delete it. Yes, no, it's gone. I promise you it's gone. Get out of here. Leave the store. Whatever y'all got to do.
I think it's understandable that this father didn't want his son being recorded, but he handled the situation in a way that made this encounter way worse for everyone involved. These books appear to be flying off the shelf all by themselves at an Alamo gift shop after hours. It's hard to tell if they were truly pulled out by a ghost, or if someone was just pushing them from the other side of the shelf and playing a prank. We'll never know for sure, but if this were to happen anywhere in Texas, then a historical site like the Alamo would be a very likely location. Joseph Widener opens his dark web mystery box and immediately comes face to face with two creepy dolls. Inside of a gray plastic bag, he also finds an old beat up hammer. It looks well used, though for what I can't tell, hopefully not on people. But then, worst of all, in another gray plastic bag, Joseph finds a sharp instrument that has almost certainly seen foul play one way or another.
What the dude?
The screwdriver is covered in hair and wet with an off-color liquid. It may or may not have been staged, but I personally think Joseph should have contacted the police just to be on the safe side. Let me know if you agree. It's 3 a.m. when a YouTuber named Spencer Smith goes exploring an abandoned mental asylum that looks haunted as can be. Most of the entrances have been sealed off, and it seems like their paranormal investigation is over before it even has a chance to go wrong. But that's when they hear scary noises in the darkness.
That was not a dog.
There's not a dog, listen. That's not a dog. Well, we're savages, let's go. Mate. Oh no, bro, oh my god.
I don't have the slightest clue what that animal could be, but I don't think it was a dog, so maybe it is supernatural. Anyway, they eventually find a doorway that's in complete shambles. Before they get a chance to step through, the camera goes out of focus for a few scary moments before they hear what I agree sounds like a footstep going up the nearby stairs. Stairs which clearly nobody is standing on.
Was that a footstep there? Was that an actual footstep?
They step through the doorway and are too busy investigating from room to room to realize they've already caught a ghost face in the window. At 12 minutes and 37 seconds, it's a scary face looking down and to the right. More of a demon sighting caught on tape than a ghost face in the window. They only see one apparition during this moment, but I actually see two. The other is a man peering in through the bottom left corner of the window. You can see his facial features most clearly during this moment, in which you can make out a sharp nose, thin lips, and no visible eyes. They record the rest of the asylum without much incident, and soon find themselves standing at a different entrance than the one they came through. They look down and notice they've almost fallen into a hole that leads into a drainage system, and as they laugh, something scary happens in return.
We'll go through that instead.
It's hard to hear at first, but it seems they've actually caught another unexplained footstep on camera shortly before they ran away, this time coming from within the drain. A Facebook user in Tlalnepantla, Mexico is walking down the street when he discovers a missing section of a wall and takes a look inside. The hollow dungeon-like area is filled with what appears to be stacks of caskets. Whether the caskets were filled or not is anyone's guess. But the point is, why would this area be sealed away underneath a highway overpass? Also, why was this section of wall broken? Maybe it broke from the inside by someone trying to free themselves. Who knows what other secrets could be hidden under there? As it turns out, nostalgia isn't always a good thing. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Hey There, You Are Okay, the Redditor explains. So I was going through my old 3DS photos for nostalgia. The reason why I'm posting on this sub is because I'm not for sure if I caught anything in the background. Do you think it's younger me being scared? The video clip shows an empty bedroom. As he starts to scan the room, the video captures a dark room beyond. It's hard to tell if there's a window in that room. However, something appears to move there, or at least a shadow is cast that mimics movements. The camera passes upward to the ceiling, and when it returns to the closet, the shadow and light has changed a bit, but it's the next time the camera pans from one side to the other that the real change occurs. Explain these unknowable shadows. What is going on here? Is there something or someone in that room? No wonder the Redditor was freaked out. Vijama is taking the 24-hour challenge in a haunted house that burned down 10 years ago, claiming the lives of an entire family inside. All throughout the night they feel nervous and on edge, as if they're being watched by something that does not appreciate their presence at all.
No, I heard something in there.
Despite feeling persistently watched, the two friends manage to fall asleep for a while. Then this YouTuber is suddenly awakened by his friend, who claims to have heard something.
He was asleep, bro. I just heard a massive bang, so I'm gonna see what it is.
Vijama looks really tired and worn down during this scene, which makes me think it could be real. They're checking out the room where the noise was coming from, when suddenly they feel like they're being watched again.
That's probably the gas fan. What the was that? Alex?
It could be the camera lighting, but I feel like I definitely see a shadowy figure retract into the doorway as soon as they turn around. Watch this part again in slow motion and tell me if you see any strange fluttering movements in the doorway. The cameraman bravely goes into the room where the shadow last retreated and finds a very tiny unnatural doorway leading to who knows where. At this point, they've seen enough and quickly exit without completing the challenge or finding out where the narrow entrance goes. YouTuber John the Paranormal Guy ranked the top 5 most haunted locations he's investigated in 2021. Among them was the Springville Plantation House in Alabama. Here's what they encountered there. Listen closely.
Was that you?
No. Was that you?
Hey, can you come down here?
The unexplained scream sent chills down my spine. Listen again.
With us?
What was that? I can definitely hear a scream in the background, but it's not clear where it's coming from. Is it human or paranormal? I think we'd have to dig deeper to find out. A YouTuber named IN7 and a large group of friends decide to investigate an abandoned home for some possible paranormal activity. They didn't find anything that strange on the first floor, aside from some mattresses, so they decide to go up a flight of rickety steps that looks far from safe.
You know. On my purple see, Mom.
Some laughter stops them in their tracks. They start to run, but then find confidence in numbers and decide to keep going anyway. When they get to the top floor, they find more mattresses. One of the mattresses has a human-looking figure on it with black sheets pulled above the head. Suddenly, some other kids rejoin the group to warn them of more people.
I didn't hit him. I just keep upstairs.
They hear laughter again and bolt down the steps, out of the house. The laughter sounds distant yet somehow all around them. If it's not editing, then it's definitely paranormal. The group will never know if the person laying on the mattress was just sleeping or not alive. They could have stumbled upon some ritual sacrifice for all we know. A YouTube channel called Proper Life dares to take a 24-hour challenge in one of the scariest and most haunted hotels in the USA. Built in 1910, the Stockyards Hotel was the first bed and breakfast business in Fort Worth, Texas. Since then, a number of full-body apparitions from different time periods still haunt the old building. Paranormal sightings that the Proper Life crew hopes to witness for themselves. At 3 a.m., the ghost hunters go exploring the creepy hotel for any late-night signs of being haunted. Ryan soon discovers some handwritten notes left behind by different groups of paranormal investigators, and he reads their words out loud. His recountment seems to inspire some fresh poltergeist activity that's caught on camera.
And heard a strange noise in the middle of the room. What the was that? What?
Look at the mirror.
Oh my god.
A mirror on the wall begins to move on its own. Objects are not moving in the next room over. A room with a fan on full speed, mind you, and yet this much heavier object is moving by itself, which seems paranormal to them, and I guess to me too for that matter. And when they go exploring the haunted room to further investigate, they discover that the fan, the only thing that could be moving the mirror, is turned off, and then his camera is caught going really out of focus on Zach, like a ghost is near. This keeps happening even though the lighting is fine, and it goes on long enough to be considered paranormal evidence.
It's not focusing on you. There's like a flashing. It is not focusing on you. It is not focusing on you at all. We good? No. Really? It's not focusing on you. That's really.
It's weird how their camera only does this around Zach. Ever since he went into the same room where an object was caught moving by itself, maybe a spirit has attached itself to him. Meanwhile, more objects continue to move on their own at 3 a.m. when the group splits up to cover more ground.
This room's really creepy. Like, you get the chill in here? Like, you feel that? Look at that hat on the wall. Like, did you hear that? Yeah. Was that not you? Ooh, ooh, that's creeping. Ooh, it's still creeping. Ooh, go, go, go.
And when they reconvene to share their findings, more paranormal evidence is caught on tape.
She's like dripping down her face. Did you guys hear that? What was that? Did you guys make a note?
The entire Proper Life crew is gathered in the same room in close proximity here, so there's no way those scary noises should be coming from another room, unless you're willing to admit the Stockyards Hotel is beyond creepy and definitely haunted.
One night I'm in my bed asleep, and this old lady comes out of my closet. She's like down her face. Did you guys hear that? What was that? Did you guys make a noise?
It's an everyday afternoon, playing in the pool, just having a bit of fun, when all of a sudden this happens. Posted to YouTube by the Junnet channel in October of 2018. This video shows what appears to be everyday footage of a nice family swim at the pool. You probably won't even notice what's incredibly creepy here at first glance. Look closely and it'll mess with your brain. At around 8 seconds into the clip, the father lifts his son up onto the pool's ledge. Watch the boy's left leg. Out of nowhere comes a third hand, helping to lift the boy up. The hand disappears, and there doesn't appear to be anyone nearby as the shot pans. Whose hand is this, and where does its owner disappear to? Did someone pass away in this pool and become its phantom? I guess we'll never know. A doll with a creepy aura is chilling enough. So what happens when the doll actually moves? The G-Team Paranormal Investigators posted this video to YouTube in March of 2019 writing, "After my recent video with Omar, I decided to take his haunted dolls home with me that night. I did not bring them inside my home. I left them in a shed out back. After watching back the video I did with Omar a few times, I decided to introduce his dolls to mine and turn the camera on." The video reveals an unsettling movement. As Patty, the host, is talking about the dolls, you can see one of the porcelain doll's heads moves ever so slightly.
Because I don't want to keep her, but I'd like her to go to a good home. I mean, if there's somebody out there that's interested, I don't... Did that thing just move?
As if she's listening. Is she? If she is, does she like what she's hearing? She must not have gone full on Chucky when the camera stopped rolling. So we can assume so. A man named Dubai7 talks to himself while returning to the home he was chased out of to get some supplies. He is trying to grab this container when he is found and cornered. The door slams behind him and he runs away. As he is looking into the room he just escaped from, a different door slams shut. And no one is inside the room when he checks. On his way out, he sees what I assume is his old cat watching him. The poor animal is too afraid to come near. It jumps away moments before something unseen chases him out the door. Now outside, he looks over just in time to see the window shutters open and close by themselves way too deliberately to be caused by the wind. This creepy doll was found perched on a platform in a graveyard. What is it doing here? Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by Blocks. The doll's eyes follow you wherever you move. It appears to be dressed in a baptism garb, and it has two sharp teeth and what look like real hair. The doll just keeps watching with its eerie grin as the cameraman takes it in from all angles, while some in the comments explain that these eyes are able to follow you due to the curvature of the glass. That still doesn't explain what this creepy demon doll is doing in a graveyard. Some Redditors want this thing removed from the earth just to be safe, but Geraldine Ferrari writes, its eyes would still follow you. Yikes. A YouTuber named Ola Bible lives in the middle of the forest in Oregon, far away from civilization. So when he hears noises outside of his house late at night, he curiously pokes around his backyard with a camera to find the source. It isn't long before he comes across an object that looks out of place. It looks like it could just be a rock or something, but he's memorized this area well enough to know it's foreign in nature. He zooms in.
The heck is that?
Then he says something out loud to himself and draws unwanted attention. A thin humanoid creature cranes its impossibly long neck in his direction. Look closely and you'll even see a surprised expression on its face, almost as if it's been caught doing something secretive. I can't tell if it's feasting on an animal, or maybe even burying something in the ground. He spins around and runs away before we get a chance to figure out what it's doing for sure. I guess the video could just be special effects, but I can't tell for certain. Maybe a follow-up video taken during the day would give us more conclusive evidence. Alyssa the Explorer rents a cabin in the woods, one that apparently has an extra guest inside.
This place is so cool, isn't it? Yeah. What the somebody in there with you?
Something scary passes by, a ghost in the window behind her, or perhaps some kind of hunched over figure in robes. I really hope this is computer effects, because if not, she needs to climb out that window fast. There's something lurking around this haunted place, shared by TikToker The King Horror. The kid who saw it with his own eyes cried in fear. After racing far away from the place, they turn back, and then they see this. This hooded figure is something nightmares are made of, and he's the perfect villain for bedtime. YouTube channel The Haunted Side Paranormal Investigations asks, would you keep going? But before you answer that, here's some context. In this short video, they were exploring Sutro Tunnel Ghost Town in Dayton, Nevada. Watch and answer for yourself.
Watch the door here coming on.
Whoa! And this was only upon entering. If you crossed the threshold and this happened,
coming on.
Whoa! Would you take a step further? Me neither. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.